Now, I don't like to upset people, but I tried to Google what are her pronouns. Alright, so that's the fantastically tasty solo that H.E.R played with Usher at this week's Super Bowl. Now, it's a pretty simple solo, and look, I definitely don't say that in any derogatory way. It's just super tasty. It's like a Prince guitar solo. It's very reminiscent of Prince, actually. It's filled with those great little singable melodies. It really builds and soars. It's a fantastic solo. Great fun to learn, so let's jump straight into it. Alright, so it's in B flat minor, which is a shit of a key for anyone who reads notation on guitar. 5 flats, that's no fun. But it's 90% pentatonic. It touches on the Aeolian minor, just for that little part. But otherwise pentatonic scale. It uses that version of the pentatonic that diagonally moves across the neck. So rather than she goes, which for those of you who may not be familiar with it is a great way to play the scale because it's the same shape 3 times and it covers so much more of the neck. So it's this shape, 4, 6, 4, 6, 8. Then I start it again, 6, 8, 6, 8, 10. I move up a fret and start it again, 9, 11, 9, 11, 13. Handy. Okay, so the whole thing kicks off up in this part of the scale with a little melody that's part of the track. Then she bends, releases and pulls off to the first finger on the 9th fret, and then hammers on to the 11th. Then this next lick is the first thing that grabs my ear as really tasty playing. So it's on beat 4. It's a very slow beat. It's like 65 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's simple, but I love the way the target note is achieved before beat 1. 3, 4, 1. It's just really tasty. And then we've got that lovely little... So what we're doing there, we're starting on the E flat note, 11th fret of the E string, and then sliding up to the 13th before going back to the 9th fret. Then hammering on to the 11th again before going back to the 8th fret. Back to the 9th to the 11th fret on the B string. Then we move down the pentatonic scale a bit. So we start with a hammer on the G string from 8th to 10th and a pull off. Then slide back to the 6th fret on the same string and hammer on to the 8th fret again. So that whole passage, nice and slow, 2, 3, 4. Then we go into a little line that's incorporated into the arrangement of the song. We're sliding from the 9th fret to the 11th on the B string, then to that D flat note, 9th fret on the E string. At this point, H.E.R plays a ripping little descent of the pentatonic scale. So slowly, that is... Yeah, let's do that really, really slowly. So as I said, no notes outside of that pentatonic scale if we don't count that bend. Okay, so look, there's a couple of little things in that descent that I think are important to get it to flow at the speed we need it to. So for a start, we've got the bend, release, and pull off. You know, it's a rock trick that's as old as the hills. Then we go So I'm grabbing the 10th fret with my second finger, 10th fret of the G string, and sliding back instantly to the 8th fret. So I'm pulling off again after that slide, and then grabbing that B flat note, 8th fret on the D string. Then I pull off again to the A flat note on the 6th fret of the D string, picking the 8th fret on the A string. Now here you can either pull off to the 6th and slide to the 4th, or slide to the 6th and pull off to the 4th. Either way. And there's our last note of the scale again, the B flat 6th fret on the E string. And then just quickly, there's what I think is an unintended G flat note. I say unintended, but look, it is a note that's in the Aeolian mode, so maybe she, her, meant for that to be there. Then the band stops. There's a stop, a la Led Zeppelin, and H.E.R plays a ripping little double stop lick, which I'm hearing like this. Sliding into the 8th fret on the A string, then grabbing 6/6 on the D and G strings, 8/8 on the A and D strings, and then grabbing the 6 and 6 on the G and B strings. Then hammering on the G string from the 6 to the 8, and back to the 6. 8 on the D string and back to the 6 on the G string. A lot of this I figured out by watching where H.E.R puts her fingers. Where H.E.R puts her fingers. Where H.E.R put her fingers, Daddy? But for this lick, I reckon there's a bend that I can hear that she's not doing in the footage. So I'm bending the 8th fret on the G string, a whole step, playing the 9th fret on the B string, then sliding from the 8th to the 10th on the G string. So same notes as the bend, but I reckon it's played like that on the recording. So then we hammer from 9 to 11 on the E string, and then do the same on the B string. And both times we end up on the 9th fret of the E string. Then she slides from the 11th to the 13th, and then plays 13, 14, 16, so that Aeolian scale. Then there's that tremolo picking lick, which I'm hearing as 4 of these, so that's 13, 14, 16, but it starts with just the first 2 notes played, and then the 4 groups of 3. It comes in on the first 16th note of beat 3, so 1, 2, 3. Now the next bit I find really tricky to play cleanly. It sounds lovely and it's a testament to what a great player H.E.R is. So we're bending the 16th fret up a full step on the E string, and then we release, pull off to the 13th fret, and then play the 16th fret on the B string, but as 32nd notes at the end of the beat. Then we do the same thing, moving up a couple of frets, bending the 18th fret up, releasing it and pulling off to the 16th, and then 18th on the B string. So slowly it's... So then she slides from the 20th to the 21st, back to the 20th, 21st on the B string, 18th on the B string. Gives that a little wiggle, and then the tremolo picking ascent up the scale. Now, what I've written out here is not what she actually plays here, because it doesn't have a specific timing. She's just kind of tremolo picking her way up the scale. So you can play this, it'll sound great. You can pick it faster if you want. You can put in more notes, whatever. But we're going up these notes. The B flat, so 20th fret on the D string. That's the 17th fret on the G string, that's a C note. D flat, 18th fret of the G string. 20th fret of the G string, that's an E flat. F note on the 18th fret of the B string. A flat note, 21st fret of the B string. Our root note, the B flat on the 18th fret of the E string. 21st fret of the E string. And then she bends that note up a whole step as the band cuts out, and I never know how people can hold the bend right up there while they're swinging the guitar around. Oh, it's not that hard. So that's it. Great fun solo. Go and have some fun with that. Printable tabs, as always, over on my Patreon, or if you just feel like throwing me a little bit of support so that I can do more of this and less of working for the man. Love ya.